Welcome to Rather Be Teaching. I'm Janelle Carroll, and let's get started. Today, I'd rather be teaching Wonders ELA. Let's take a look at how we're going to be mixing the digital with traditional. So some of the digital examples that I'm going to be showing you are just some examples. You really get to choose what apps or digital things you're going to plug in to your stations. So when we plug in some of the digital, here are some options. Especially with the younger grades, we can use Seesaw activities, something that maybe off of Seesaw goes with our Wonder curriculum. Maybe there's a quizzes, a Bookit, a Give kit we can use, whichever, one of those apps that your students really love. There's Edpuzzle. We can use a Google form. We can find a YouTube video. We can have students record themselves making a Flipgrid or Flip. Really, it's up to you, and you have a lot of choices. Looking at traditional examples, again, you really get to choose what kind of works with your students, but let's take a look at a few examples here. So plugging in some of these traditional things such as sketchnoting, right? Present students with like maybe a big poster board. That's something that I did. It fit over like 4 desks, so everyone can be sketching and putting annotations on it all at the same time. You can plug in story cubes. Story cubes are an amazing way to get students to use visual cues to represent their learning. There even is digital story cubes if you didn't have the actual physical set. Now, story cubes really provide good visual cues to assist students when they're telling a story, and it really stimulates that creative thinking that we're looking for. And it really demands a multifaceted problem solving that challenges super high levels of Bloom's taxonomy. So you might want to look into those. Also, there's something called a micro lab. Think of it kind of like a mini Socratic seminar. The micro lab station is basically like a cluster of desks with all the students in a given team. Students will call the teacher over to visit the center, and they discuss an assigned prompt for like a full 5 minutes. And then also you can always plug in those traditional graphic organizers. I know Wonders already has graphic organizers, or you can use ones that your students are familiar with that you think are most beneficial. Again, it's really up to you. So a big tip is make sure your class, your students, are really familiar with all of the tools, even the traditional tools, right? They need to know how to use Seesaw. They need to understand kind of how sketchnoting works, those story cubes, your graphic organizers, all of those things. You really want to possibly do a whole class for a while, like low cognitive load activities with them, and then students will start to begin to understand how those tools work. You really want to make sure they're familiar with the tools before you do this QR break-in, because you really don't want your students having to ask questions about, how do I fill in this graphic organizer, or how do I use a tool on Seesaw. You want to make sure that they're all ready to go and very familiar with things, and then the QR break-in is going to run much more smoothly. So please stick around for the next video. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share.